Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I'm your host, Amy Revell. It's lovely to be with you. I've been thinking about today's topic, and if you saw it in the YouTube description or in your podcast app, you're like, house burping? Is that the thing I've seen on TikTok or what's going on? So today's episode is going to be a bit of fun. I feel like I'm just coming gently but honestly and talking to you about an issue in your home and giving you some tools so that you can manage it really well. But I wanted to start off with some really cool things that have happened. So I've had some lovely media this week, even across internationally. I had an article published here in Australia just about like, how do you get started decluttering when you kind of don't know where to start and you're overwhelmed. So there's a lovely article published. If you have a look on my socials, you'll probably see it on there, but then it got picked up internationally. So if you are joining me for the first time, whether it's podcasting or watching on YouTube, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the lady I found through these articles that were being published. Hi, welcome. I'm Amy. I am a professional organizer and declutter coach, and I own the Art of Decluttering. We are a business based in Melbourne, Australia. We've got professional organizers who go out into our clients' homes and help them physically do that decluttering and organizing. Obviously, I also have this podcast and we have courses, and I've got a book that I've written. Like the main aim of the Art of Decluttering is to help people find freedom from clutter. So whether that's freedom from clutter in your home, whether it's that you need kind of a breakthrough in your mindset, you're like stuck on, oh, but I paid good money for that. Or whether it's just like in your heart, you're feeling like, oh, I feel so attached to things and I feel guilt and overwhelmed. So it's really about getting that freedom from clutter in all areas. This podcast has been going, I think it's like year 8 or 9. I always lose track. I'm not very good because I've got ADHD. Time blindness is a real issue for me. And so I'm very, very bad at remembering like how long something's been going for. I can never, ever remember how long I've been married for. Every time someone says, how long have you guys been married for? I put on a big smile and like look over to Cal because he will know for sure. And I'm like, it's 20 something years. Even now, I don't know how many years it's been. It's 20 something. And so the podcast has been going for a long time. I've been running this business for over 10 years. It might be over 11. See, I don't really know. It's been a long, long time. But the podcast has lots and lots of different topics that you can go back and listen to. But today's topic we have never, ever, ever talked about, and it's house burping. And if you have seen this, it's a very German thing. I mean, to be honest, I grew up in a house where there were doors and windows open all the time so you could get a cross flow, you could get airflow in the house. What I've noticed a lot since I've been working with clients in their homes over the last decade is that a lot of homes are really stagnant. Doors, windows are really closed. There's not a lot of airflow. And if you're needing to heat or cool the house, you put the heater on or you put the cooler on. You don't necessarily allow the natural environment to, be part of your climate control. So if you're thinking, yeah, whatever, Amy, that's fine, I don't need to house burp, it might be that you don't know that you need to house burp. And so don't turn this episode off. I want you to listen. I want you to get some ideas out of it. Trust me, your house is going to benefit from this. And I want to start off by saying that, it's a really great idea, no matter what type of house you're living in. But I understand that there are some things that might contribute to your inability to do it, whether you've got allergies or whether you live like on a main road or whether you live next to a train station. So I understand all those things, and I trust that you're smart enough that you can kind of take what is helpful and leave things that are not necessarily helpful. The idea of house burping is to get flow of air through your house. Now, the easiest and smartest way to do this is just to open up a couple of doors and windows. And usually you want them so that you get a bit of a cross flow so that the air doesn't just come, you're not just one window open. You actually want to think about like, how do I get air flowing, not just get a little bit of fresh air in. You want your house to kind of breathe. And there's so many reasons that's really important. One of them is fresh air. Like your house has you breathing in it. When you breathe out, you're breathing out carbon dioxide. But you're also breathing out lots of humidity. That's the other thing. And so plants are really good for that. Like I love having plants in my house. I have lots and lots of plants. You can see some of them in my background, but there's a lot. They can help kind of take and freshen the air and purify the air. It's good for dust. It's good for air quality. But there's lots of like moisture in your house. And so actually opening doors and windows helps remove some of that moisture. One of the risks of having a house that's particularly moist is you then get mould. And dust turns from dust to mud. And I have seen it in so many houses where like skirting boards aren't just dusty, they're muddy. And you might think, oh, I don't know how that happened. I know how it happened. It happened that your house is too moist and you're not actually letting enough airflow through. You're not allowing things to dry out. And so the things that can cause kind of this air pollution within your house is just having humans in it. So don't not have humans in your house. That's kind of essential. But humans do cause a bit of environmental, what did I call it? Like, your air quality is reduced. Also, things like cooking, things like pets, things like, you might have an open fire. Like there's lots of things in your home which can actually impact the air quality. And so you want to be thinking like, how do I improve that and how do I get it really clear and connected? And how do I improve the standard of the air in my house? And why is it important? So when I'm in houses that are cluttered, my experience is that cluttered houses are way, way, way less likely to open up doors and windows. Way less likely. And if I can be really honest with you, cluttered houses smell a lot worse than non-cluttered houses. I and my team, I know they'll be listening and they'll be smiling because there are times when we walk into homes and we need to pop on a face mask just because of the air quality. And it might be that it smells like cat urine. That is one of the biggest offenders. If you have a cat, let me just tell you, you need to air your house. You may not smell it. You may not think it's a problem, but if you have a cat, it is a problem. Every other person that doesn't have a cat can smell the cat in your house. It's the litter box. Even if your cat is really clean, please, you need to burp your house. So it might be that there's, cat urine we can smell. We can smell body odor in houses. If you cook with like really beautiful flavors, it might be cook with curries or you might cook with lots of spices. We can smell that in your house. Those smells get caught in your paint. They get caught in your curtains. They get caught in your fabric of your upholstery. So burping your house and having the windows open just allows that fresh air to come and go. And cluttered houses smell more. And so it is more important. Cluttered houses are also a lot more dusty because there's a lot more places for dust to settle. And in a cluttered home, you don't have airflow. You don't have adequate airflow. So what you end up having is like there might be boxes or there might be a lot of furniture. So dust settles and air doesn't flow adequately around a space. So what that also does is it encourages mold growth. So what I want to do is set the platform for you of like, why burp my house? It's because your house smells. It's because you've got pets. It's because you've got teenagers. I've got 2 teenage boys. We need to open their windows every now and again. And so it is really important. It's the same in your car. Sometimes I think we're so used to just turning the cooling or the heating on when we need a bit of airflow in the car. Even today, I was driving home and I was like, I just want the windows open. I just want that flow through my car so that it gets rid of any smells. I know if we pick up a pizza and you bring it home the day after you get in the car, like, oh, that day old pizza smell is super gross. So equally in your cars and in your homes. I think some of the reasons that people with clutter don't burp their houses, don't open their windows regularly is because they're worried that other people might look inside. And there's like that fear of judgment. Or what I've seen often is you just actually can't get to the windows to open them, or you can't open the door properly because there's stuff behind it. And so you just don't do it. So there's that fear of shame and all that type of thing. The reason that I want to encourage you to do it is not just because it's good for your air quality. I've worked with clients where I've done this. I've walked in, I'm like, wow, that's a really strong odor in the house. It feels really stuffy. It's really dusty. And I say, hey, can we open some windows while we're doing the decluttering? And also I remind clients all the time is that when we come in as professional organizers or when you tackle a decluttering job of your own, you are much more likely to be disrupting the dust, moving the dust around. So opening the windows is great. It's all the dust that has settled. When you're tackling a decluttering project, you're aggravating all that, putting it all in the air. So let's get that airflow happening. But what I find is when we do open up the windows and the doors and we get into it, it actually brings like a little bit of freshness and it makes you a bit more like, okay, I'm ready. I'm totally in. I'm going to take, this motivation of fresh air and light coming into the space, and it motivates you to declutter. And I have found personally, it motivates me to clean. Since I've been ruminating on this topic, generally what I do is I love having our back door open. I really like just having that natural fresh air. But what I've started doing in the mornings is when I get up and I open up my blinds, I also open up my bedroom windows. And I'm really enjoying that cross airflow and just the habit of doing that. The other day, I opened the window, opened the blind, opened the windows, and went, oh, my mirror's gotten dusty. It literally took me maybe 40 seconds. Went and got the spray and a rag, and I cleaned down my mirror and went, oh, that feels so much better. So sometimes by having the blinds open and the windows open, you can see things differently. You actually see where the dust has settled and you're like, oh, I can see that now. I'll go and tackle it. In a lot of houses with significant clutter, the blinds never get fully open. So you're not actually seeing the impact of the dust and the grime and the spider webs that are all over your house. And sometimes because we feel like things are chaotic, we close ourselves in. The clutter often already feels oppressive. And so it's a really great way to like open things up, brighten things up. And when you've got the windows open, you've got the doors open, it kind of just feels a little bit easier to get rid of stuff. It feels a little bit easier of like, oh yeah, that can go outside. You're reducing that barrier of going inside and outside. So air movement in your home is really, really important. So that's what the burping is. If you kind of think, it's not a nice thought. You don't actually want to burp your house, but the burping is like the air, you're pushing the air out and then you've got the air coming in. And so there's that natural flow and exchange of air. And even if you just do it for 10 minutes every morning, and it can be tempting, I know, is to not do it when it's hot and to not do it when it's cold because we're a little bit phobic of like wasting energy, right? But what if the air quality outweighs the 10 minutes where you're going to have the windows open? So it might be that you don't turn the heating on in the morning until you've opened up the windows and you've got in your 10 minutes of fresh air. Then you close them off and then you can put your heating on. Or the same for the cooling is, and maybe before you go to bed, you want to open it up and just let the air flow through. There's been studies that people actually sleep better with open windows. And if I lived on my own and I wasn't sharing a bedroom with my beautiful husband, I would sleep with the windows open. I really love a cool breeze, like kind of having that fresh air while I sleep. We do live on a main road, and so we do get trucks and cars, and it would be quite disruptive. But I would even put up with that because I love that feeling of fresh air while you're asleep. It's a bit like when you're camping or when you have a late night and you're out by a fire, like, oh, just this fresh air and movement around me is so good. It's quite good psychologically for you too. Just this burping of your house makes you feel like you're just conscious of your living environment. But opening the window and just kind of engaging with your house. And so here's a little tip that you could try. And that is that when you open up the windows and doors and you might do it for 10 minutes before work, could you spend that 10 minutes like doing a quick clean or quick declutter or what can go, and you're just giving yourself a little bit of time. You don't need to leave them open all day if you don't want to. Just little bits of time. And I would encourage you to think about how you do it for lots of rooms. So if you've got a really big house, you might need to open 5 or 6 windows or doors. You might have the particular ones that you open, or if you've got a spare room that no one really goes into, it might be once a week. You just want to open it up for an hour and just let that fresh air come through. Mold in a house is really significantly bad. I know that's a terrible sentence. Mold is terrible. Mold is really bad for your health. It's insidious. It's hard to get rid of. It comes back and it impacts so many different things. And house burping is a really great way to reduce that mold, even if you just open the windows while you're in the shower. So still put your extractor fan on and all that type of thing. Think like, oh, what if I just cracked open the bathroom window while I'm there? Oh, that's a really great way of reducing the moisture in the air and therefore reducing your risk of mold. I have dealt with way too many homes whose moisture levels are very high and there's mold everywhere. And if we could just open those windows and actually reduce that moisture loading, that's a really great idea. And we talked about cat families and how it's really important that you get the air flowing through. But if you've got any kind of pet, even if it's a beautifully clean rabbit or whatever it would be, if you've got a dog, you've got birds, like open up your doors, just get that flow through. That pet hair can sometimes just sit. Sometimes when you open a window and you open it up and you start to kind of, the breeze goes and you look around and you catch a beam of light coming through and the beam of light is full of dog hair. It's a great way for you to go, oh, I just need to vacuum. I just need to get onto this and I want to get on top of it, because when you've got air moving, as I said before, it can help you identify what cleaning needs to be done. But it's also good for your allergies if, you get a lot of dust. Okay, this is a great way, a little reminder to go, okay, I need to dust, I need to vacuum, I need to stay on top of that type of thing. So house burping is opening up doors and windows and letting it cross breeze, 10 minutes a day, like actually just let the air flow through your house. It's good for your environment. So it's good for dust and mold and your air quality. It's also good for your mind. It's really good psychologically to be experiencing the outdoor. We were not created to spend as much time indoors as we do. And I am not pointing the finger at anyone because I work in an office. I spend a lot of my time inside, and it can be always in climate control. You might turn a fan on if you're hot rather than open a window. And sometimes if you're in an area that's noisy, you can avoid doing that, or you're worried about crime. Think about, like, how can I let this breeze through? How can I enjoy it? And the psychological benefit of fresh air can give you a little bit of a reset, can be good for your energy levels. It can be good for your mental clarity. Like, all of these benefits to burping your house, all come together to build an excellent argument of doing that. And even opening your blinds so that you get sunlight through, the UV that comes through can actually kill off dust mites. So it might be that in your bedroom, you don't make the bed, you leave the sheets off when you get out of bed in the morning. You open up your blinds and just let the sunlight go over your bed and kind of almost disinfect it, like just give it a clean. And then if you want to make your bed, like I'm not a make my bed person, but if you are, you could do that after you've burped the house. So if you're someone who otherwise would keep their doors closed and their windows closed and all that type of thing, I really want to encourage you to think about, how can I burp my house? What are the benefits? And can you then see the outworking into your enthusiasm and your motivation to do some decluttering? Because I really do think that if you've got an issue with clutter, you're probably not burping your house. You're not getting airflow, and I want to encourage you to do it. Come over to my Facebook page. Let me know if you've done it. Let me know if you're someone who doesn't generally open their doors and windows. You've given it a go. You've seen what it's like. And tell me, like, was it easier then to engage in decluttering? Did you feel like you cleaned a little bit more that day than you would have otherwise? I'm super keen to know. So until next week, enjoy the freedom.